Live and exclusive right around Australia. Terrific to have you with us on Fox Footy. Our Saturday night coverage at the Telstra Dome. Roof is closed. Going to get a little chilly for the folks boundary side, despite the fact that the roof is on. Adam Simpson, Wayne Campbell, the skippers meeting in the middle for the coin toss, and the young girl getting the thrill of tossing the coin. The Kangaroos winning it through Adam Simpson off to the left of screen. To start with, Matthew Campbell, a very good evening and welcome to Saturday Night Football. Good to have you with us.
Yes, Stuart, good evening to you and Clinton as well, because I've called you the wrong name straight up. But interesting to see that this is the third year in a row that they've met on round 11 here at the Docklands, and their last 3 games have been within 2 goals. So expecting another close contest tonight.
How do you read the Tigers' body language? Because quite clearly they have had a most interesting week, and they are going to have a lot of resolve if they're to put out of their minds what has been spoken about their coach.
Well, I think given what you talked about in the opening, Jared, they've had a couple of weeks on the road, but I think they're very happy to be back here in Melbourne at the Telstra Dome, even though they've only won 1 of 4. I think they're set for a big game. What disappoints me about the Kangaroos in the last few weeks is that this is not the first time that they've set themselves for a game. Yep. They said the same thing last week and didn't come across to the point.
Stafford at half forward, Richo deep in the goal square, which means that the big man Stafford into the ruck, and it's Ottens at half forward with a couple of little fellas at his feet in Roden and in Cracker.
How do you see the Stafford Ottens v McKernan-Porter ruck matchup going to unfold?
Well, McKernan's on the boundary line. He'll come onto the ground with a rotation. Look, I think Corey McKernan's fighting for his football survival at the moment. His timing just hasn't been anywhere near it. I think Stafford and Ottens have got them covered for talent and possibly for form.
Hardigan, Schultz, Fleming and Hilton to start on the Tiger bench this evening. While for the Kangaroos, well, there he is, Corey McKernan, averaging just 7 touches a game this season. Farito, Wills and Watson alongside. Both coaches know that this is just about it for their season.
Brent Harvey's the key. I think if he can spark the Kangaroos, then the Tigers have got some problems.
Porter and Stafford to go at it. Porter for Harris, and we're underway with the Kangaroos to get the clearance. Simpson, good pick up by Shannon Grant. Onto the left, gets around Brown. Delivers direct to full forward. Rocker coming out. Oh, the teammates spoil one another, but Porter's hung onto the footy and will have a shot at goal directly in front.
Just on that, the easy clearance, Richmond, bit of a communication problem. Started with 3 in the centre square at the start of a game.
Yeah, they got trapped with Brent Harvey bobbing out of the square just seconds before the bounce. But this is good work by the Kangaroos with Porter pushing forward. It's a great start. You get a sense sometimes of the Kangaroos, and right now the evidence points that they have set themselves and they're going to fire. Shannon Grant's also one that just needs to provide a big night.
Hasn't kicked a goal this year. Be a big time to deliver now. 48 metres out, he's hooked the kick. A let-off for the Tigers.
Colbert on Ottens. Well and truly undersized, but we know he can prevail in many circumstances where he's underdone.
Kangaroos, the first score. Campbell to bring it in for the Tigers as Johnson provides some run out of their defensive 50. Straight up the middle, Roden forced to go. Didn't really want the contest. King at ground level, Colbert. Makepeace over the top, Harris. The Roos with numbers, Harvey. You can go back through the middle to King and does. Makepeace again. Perhaps the option. King, oh, beautiful kick out in front of Rocker. Open forward line, and they use the ball well.
Well, one thing is clear, the Tigeroos are up. The Kangaroos are clearly up, and they're getting that run from defence, which is so important to their match play.
Wonderful place. I mean, to have such space directly in front of goal at the 40-metre mark, very rare to see that. No one getting in to cover that hole. And Severio, liner, should kick the first goal of the evening. Kicked 6 goals so far this season. For a brilliant start to Saturday Night Football to the Kangaroos. Makes no mistake, and he's pumped and he's happy. Body language, you talked about that before, Jared. It's good from the Kangaroos.
Oh, it's superb. I think the biggest indicator of the Kangaroos is just how many players off that back line get possessions up the ground, and King's a classic. I mean, really, when the Tigers came forward, they needed to have Ottens providing the marking target, not David Roden. Roden should be the one crumbing. And here is one of the finest kicks the game's ever seen. Just perfect posture. Kicks straight through the ball. Base foot just hops at the target. And he rarely misses when he's in that comfortable set position.
No ads tonight. Your live and exclusive commercial-free coverage, siren to siren, on Fox Footy as Porter gets it down to Simpson. Boy, they're taking it away with ease. Harris feeding it on. Good build-up. Anthony Stevens, rocker on the lead, and he's got it again, the big fella. Well, he could have had 3 marks at this stage. His teammate took 1 from him. Now he's going to have another shot at goal to try and kick his second.
Well, they just haven't been competitive in the centre clearances. And it's not just the centre clearances. The ball has just been coming straight out so easily that they have been able to pinpoint it to 3 marking targets. We talk about important statistics in footy this afternoon, Clinton. Well, taking competitive or any mark inside that forward 50 is almost, I reckon, the most prevalent indicator of success in footy at the present time. And they've taken 3 in the early part of this match.
And Rocker will make them pay. He's got his second. Oh, you talk about a dream start. This is it. 4 minutes in. Kangaroos motoring.
3 set shots from 3 marks inside forward 50 to come up with 2 goals won. It's a good start by the Kangaroos, and everyone's getting possession. Just having a look at the stats. I'll give you a stat that does count. You can't do much if you haven't got the footy in your hand. Currently, we are, what, 4 or 5 minutes into the game? Greg Tivendale has had 1 handball, and Kane Johnson has had 1 kick for the Tigers, and the rest is a blank sheet. 14 disposals on the other side of that ledger to the Kangaroos, and taking it away from the centre so easily. No pressure from players coming in off the line at the moment. They're going for 3 in a row. Simpson couldn't quite get a kick. Smothered kick from Tivendale. Rawlings just keeping it ahead of himself. Roden with the pick-up. Wonderful tackle from King. Superb defensive work from the Kangaroo veteran. We'll have a ball up just outside Richmond's forward 50. And superb tackle, dragging him to the ground. All Kangaroos at the moment. First quarter has been their best quarter for the year. They've won 6 of their 10. But we have a ruck infringement as we sometimes work out how they come about. Stafford with the free kick. Nice
out
kick.
in front of Richardson. Got it. Not paid.
Well, one of the great things about Greg Stafford is his skills. He is one of the finest kicks I think the game has ever seen for someone of his height.
Tall, yeah.
And it's not just on his preferred leg. He has a brilliant left foot kick as well, highly skilled. And gee, somebody needed to spark the Tigers.
It was, I mean, Richardson marked that, but that was fairly good defensive work from Shannon Watt. He couldn't have got any closer. Richardson, so much the barometer for the Tigers. Doesn't. Now, that's line ball. That'll be a point. Jared wanted 6. It was just a point. Very tight angle. First score for the Tigers tonight.
Well, I was just a student of body language, and Richo's got me again.
Why don't we get taller posts immediately?
Yeah. When are they coming?
Well, as soon as they can find the cash, I suppose.
Or the trees.
King wide to Harris. Takes the mark. He's seen plenty of it early. Yeah, good start from he as Makepeace goes short. Harris again has it on a string, keeps it low, wonderful feed. And Harding will have a look here from 45 metres out. Harris with 5 touches in the opening 6.5 minutes. And now a question of accuracy for Lee Harding, who's playing just his 5th game for the season. Another look at Daniel Harris. They blooded him back in 2001, perhaps now hitting his straps, just 4 games last year. Harding to try and give the Kangaroos a 3-goal lead 7 minutes in. You're riding behind the kick from the opposite side of the ground, right through the middle.
Great transfer of play. Richo at one end of the ground just misses. And then a great transfer from the kick in to this shot at goal that we see coming up.
We saw Essendon earlier today, Jared, at the MCG where we were for 3AW, do it just so well.
Yeah, they did it brilliantly from kick into goal. They're the best in the business. And once again, it was a mark inside the forward 50. Yep. That's 4 for.
Well, astonishing, isn't it? 4 times inside the forward 50 for those marks and 3 goals won. Superb start by the Kangaroos. 3-goal margin. Stafford coming in off the side. to the Tigers' advantage. The quick give from Johnson to Brown. Caught on his wrong boot. Right foot torpedo punt. Big spoil from Colbert, sending it over the line.
You look at the quality of player in that centre bounce area for the Tigers. Kane Johnson, Nathan Brown, just to name two. And you wonder how they have been so comprehensively beaten out of there.
Boundary throw in about 20 metres around from the Tiger goal. Ottens works his way to the front. All Kangaroos there at the moment, though. Give on the up from Watt, back to Makepeace. Simpson, hard up against the boundary, gets it back to the 50-metre line. Stevens climbs over the top and almost pulls it in. He's caught, he's holding the ball. Late inclusion in the team. Maybe thinking, if only I just caught that, would have been a great mark. And now I find myself pinged on the 50-metre line.
Did he have prior opportunity?
I thought it was a tough call.
So I get completely confused by that whole rule and its interpretation. I'm not sure how you guys feel or our viewers, but it just seems to change from umpire to umpire.
Joel Bowden, as Clinton mentioned at the start, has been in spectacular form. That's not his best kick. That's still in play. Right to the goal line. Big pack forming, and they dive on top. Stack it up. We'll have a ball up right in front of the Tigers' goal.
David King asking for some consistency, perhaps, saying, well, what about that one? We'll have a bounce. Top of the goal square. Kangaroos with 15 more possessions already. Will they concede a behind here? Ottens won't let them. Roden's dangerous here. Brown, he's lethal. Snaps, misses to the near side. Speaking of lethal, he'll be on the couch Monday night, joining Mike, Jared and Robert.
You're looking forward to the living legend coming down.
Brown, #1 in the AFL for effective kicks. That one wasn't one, and that kick was coming in too soon before the flag had been finished waving by the goal umpire. Makepeace's kick smothered by Ottens. He'll get a second chance. Kangaroos 3-1, Richmond 2 behind. So he chips to himself, gains a few metres, has King in space in front of Cracker. Socks down already for the rugged Kangaroo defender. Game number 230 tonight. Likely to play on next season into his 33rd year. Watt, good effective switch. They've got loose men now. Porter can just chip it over the top for Michael Stevens. He can keep on running after the mark. Now the important ball to the 50. Harding slipped. Motlop slipped. So the Tigers had the door open for them. And Chaffee takes the relieving mark.
Good communication there from Fiore and Chaffee. Just working it out as Chaffee spots Roden and Stafford. It was 2-on-1, and that has to come back. It was a good mark by Stafford. Roden cannot take off with the advantage. Stafford down the line. Hall arrives, spoils to the front. Johnson got a call beautifully from Brown. Brown inside 50, Ottens the target. Makepeace did well, ends up with the football off the side. Still a danger ball here for the Kangaroos. Stevens caught, just manages to get a kick away. Hall goes up, or Ottens goes up and comes down with it. Good pressure inside the forward 50 from the Tigers. And we talk about Stafford being a good kick, Jared. Ottens is a very good set shot for goal.
Yeah, he's an outstanding kick. A lot of people disappointed with the way he has developed. He's had his injury problems over the years, and he still looms as a major threat if he can just get his game going.
Brad Ottens. 6 goals, 3 coming into the evening. And Richmond would dearly love to get a goal. Let's settle things down a little bit. It's been all Kangaroos. They've been lethal going into attack. The Tigers scrambling a bit. Right on 50. It's gone left. It stayed left. So 3 behinds now for the Tigers. 2 set shots and the Brown snap.
David King to bring it back into play. Richmond squandering a couple of chances. Not in a position to be able to do that. David King loves doing that. He gets a stat having cleared the kickoff line. Colbert for Sainsbury. Good vision. Harris in space. Hits the ground running. Drives it inside 50 for Petrie. They are going to be rushing behind soon because it's the best way to send it out of defence via the kicking.
Well, the Tigers are going to have to rethink their zone because it's just getting away too quickly. And once again, we see just another pinpointed pass. There's just sucking back when the ball comes out from defence. to allow the key forwards to run up into that exact same spot. And the beauty of this, Matto, is because it's the high percentage shot to have a goal from.
6th in the best and fairest last year at the Kangaroos. He's a thumping kick. He's hooked this one. And so let-offs at either end are behind there to Petrie, following up an earlier Porter miss. So they could have had 5 goals on the board. As it is, they're still in control. 3-2 to 3 behinds halfway. Nearly through this opening quarter.
Wayne Campbell once again to bring it in. And perhaps the Richmond zone at the other end, Jared, will have to come back a bit deeper. It seems to be a bit close at the moment. The short kick goes in, then straight over the top. Here's the short kick to Hyde. Campbell wants it back, gets it. Not a lot of options for him, though. Towards the boundary line, arriving late, Gasper couldn't quite take it. Second effort required and did well. Spotted Fiore on his own. The give to the man running past Tivendale. Off he goes, direct and long. Richardson, got to beat 3, can't beat Brown, who got back well to take a good mark. And they move it quickly. Simpson to the wing once again, Rawlings the target. Over the top came Kelvin Moore. And the ball stays in. He had to follow up with a second effort. The tackle was laid. Brown goes back to help out. Now he's free. Off the right boot through the middle to Stafford. Plenty of Tigers here. Johnson. Second thought was to go long to Richardson. Got it.
Push out, says the umpire.
Free kick going to Shannon Watt. Richo's upset. Play on. Get it moving, Roos.
Oh, don't stir Mount Vesuvius, man in orange. Roos through Watt. Simpson to Porter on the wing. Harvey wants it, running alongside the big fella. Tiger fans not happy. Harvey, at least they're united, I guess. Kicks to centre half forward, the leap from Petrie. Unable to hang on, Gasper over the head of Chaffee. Motlop is lurking. The boundary line, the best friend of Mark Chaffee, will have a boundary throw in. Let's take you back to the other end. Richo still shaking his head in disgust. You be the judge.
Well, you just can't believe that that decision was paid. It was a push in the side. The other bloke was grappling him. It's got to be fair square.
Kangaroos by 17 points from the throw-in. McKernan on the ground. Stafford was there as well. Harris another possession. Harvey's kick, well, a good result in the end for a boundary throw-in. Michael Stevens coming into the side along with Ashley Watson, with Archer and Hale, the men missing for the Kangaroos from the selected side. And confirmation of the first change with Porter off the ground and McKernan on. He would have been sparked again. Here he is in front of Stafford, getting it down to Harris. Well, he's been the extractor at the moment. To Harvey, deep to full forward for Petrie. Gasper got first fist. Motlop knocking it down. Tigers under pressure. Hyde backs into trouble. Chaffee the ball at handball to Gasper. To Campbell. Now they can go.
And they're sprinting hard as Bowden goes back to Moore. Out to centre wing. He wants Roden. The kick is astray. Hall having to do the crumbs. Cracker. Into some space. Bad kick. He might get another chance here. Here's Roden. Poor kick from him. Easy one for Shannon Watt to read. He thinks about the switch. It's closed down temporarily. May still be on. And here it goes. All the way to Lee Brown. Further afield, Rawlings. As Brown just zones off. Rawlings up the line. Harvey's got to beat one man, and that was Newman. He's got it back from Brown. Clever work. Player on his own was Bowden, but he went further afield to Cracker. Beautiful hands to Bowden. He set sail from 55 metres. It's through. The Tigers have got there first on Saturday Night Football here on Fox Footy. Quick hands from Andrew Cracker, and Bowden, who's averaging 31 disposals since coming back into this team, finishes off.
Well, they've had a good 5 minutes. The Tigers really starting to work their way into the game. Disposal making them work a bit harder than they should for their shots at goal, but they get it to one of the finest kicks in the side, and he doesn't let them down. He really is having a stellar month and a bit, is Joel Bowden.
So Joel Bowden breaks through for the Tigers after 17 minutes of playing time. Otten's now to contest the ruck in the middle for Danny Frawley. Schultz moving to centre half forward.
Lee Brown just floating across that half back line as an extra player.
McKernan gets first hand to it. Divendale buffeted off it by Michael Stevens, who gathers well. Handball backwards to his brother. Now Makepeace on the wing. Rocker on the lead. He's the target. The kick short. Good pick-up Sav. Claimed by Hall. Ball will be bounced. 55 out from the Kangaroo goal. Just needed a bit more on the kick towards him. Shannon Grant looking for the footy still. Confirmation there of the hole. Umpire tumbles over backwards following the bounce. Rocker the toe poke. Gasper working near the line. And there was some thought that Gasper might start on Rocker and Hall would take Petrie, but the Tigers going the other way.
Down on the boundary line, Wayne Swats has been a keen watcher. You saw the Kangaroos through the warm-up, Swatter, and you've seen the first 15 minutes. How do you assess it?
As I expected, Jared, they were very intent in the warm-up. We'll come back to it shortly.
Chance here for the Roos. Fighting hard underneath was Harris, who's been superb. Rawlings, good give. Harding's clear into some space, and he finishes nicely. Second goal to Lee Harding. Let's go back down to Wayne.
Yeah, look, they trained, or they warmed up with a lot of intent and a lot of purpose in the rooms, Jared. And look, I think that they, in the opening stands, they've got the matchups in the midfield that they're after, and what they're getting out in the ground, or the impression that I get there, they're being proactive. They're not waiting for Richmond to do something. They're backing their players in, which I think a side that's been struggling to find some form, that's the only way you'll get yourself back into it. Go out there and take some risks, and they're certainly doing that, and they've come to play tonight.
Lee Harding with the one glove, giving the salute.
Interesting battle between Kane Johnson and Adam Simpson.
4-2 plays 1-3. Ottens waits for it. Ugly looking collision between the ruckmen. Brown did well. Got it to Hyde. To centre half forward. Colbert knocked it away from Schultz. Tivendale a chance. He's a penetrating kick. Look at that. Just magnificent to the leading Richardson. And he'll have a shot at goal from 45 metres out.
Tivendale's been minded by Michael Stevens. Stevens has had a number of run with rolls this year. Shannon Grant coming from the ground. He's been replaced by Daniel Wells. Not a bad replacement.
And the second perfect pass for Richardson. He missed the first shot at goal from the other side of the ground. This is the reverse angle look. And a shot he should kick. And he does. Richo gets his first. Tigers get their second. The margin is 11 points.
Well, just what they needed too, wasn't it, to finish off. They've missed some set shots at goal. A quick answering goal to Hardings. And
again, nothing Watt can do defensively on this.
He's right with him, isn't he? I mean, we know Shannon Watt's got great pace. And he's as good as anyone in that burst of 10 metres. But if the kick comes in like that, doesn't matter how fast you are as a full-back.
Once again, when the Tigers kick a goal, Lee Brown goes and stands about 25 metres in front of Richo. When the Kangaroos kick a goal, he seems to stay up in the half-forward line for himself.
It's left young Kelvin Moore on his own in the back half for the Tigers in his first game. Johnson to Brown, starting to get plenty of the ball. A little nudge from Bowden, play on the call. King was searching for either Makepeace or the boundary. Good defensive kick. Simpson now on the wing. Can go further to Stevens. And the captain and the former captain combine. McKernan the target. The spoil came from Moore. In front, Harvey. To centre forward. 2-on-2. Big leap from Petrie. Ball at ground level for Brown. Goes off the ground, seeking some solace from the boundary line. And Ray Hall will do likewise. Inside the last five minutes. 11-point margin to the Roos.
Both clubs coming into this game 4 wins and 6 losses. The Kangaroos winning the last 2 between the two clubs, including their only meeting last year. Nathan Brown beginning to see the footy. All getting it down under pressure. Newman for Campbell. Bangs it away to midfield. The bounce will be so important here. It sits up and Bowden knocked it down. Schultz takes them on, is caught, gets it back to Bowden. Here goes the man who's running hot now. Brown away, charging through the midfield, delivers to Richardson. Unable to drag it down. Otten's a chance, steadies, goes for it, sprays it. Yeah, he's not happy.
And neither would a few of the other blokes up the field, but his time will come. At least he's winning the ball, and so too is Nathan Brown. Brody Rawlings has had a fine year. but he is getting a fair shellacking at the moment by Nathan Brown. He's been on him all quarter, which I think he has. Brown's now notched up double figures.
And once again, it was Colbert backing back into that contest. But it was Sainsbury now to make peace inside the 450. Good mark. Terrific mark, Mollop. He's so strong in the hands. Again, they've moved it quickly from the behind, straight up to a mark directly in front of goal, about 30-40 metres out. Tigers have to work on that. Well, a good, clean look at quarter time to see who is going to speak to the forward line players for their zone.
The spotter has confirmed that Rawlings is on Nathan Brown, but starting outside the square.
Once again, the Kangaroos from one end of the ground to the other. Motlop's got his first. Kangaroos have got 5. They lead by 16 points.
Well, a great reply by the Kangaroos, and if Richmond are going to win, they're going to have to play their best footy, because the Kangaroos are here to play. They are hitting it cleanly. They're running for each other, and Swatter, just on that Brady Rawlings one, do you think it's worthwhile, given that Brown has had so much of the footy and having plenty of it in the centre, that you just start him with him in the middle?
I couldn't agree with you any more, Gerard. I think if a tag is wanting to do a good job on a prolific ball winner, as in Nathan Brown, you've got to give him that chance. Perhaps start him outside the square, but as we've seen, Nathan Brown is just starting to rack possessions up. It's time that you just put him in the centre square and just make sure he shuts down Nathan Brown.
Brown, the leading ball winner. Kangaroos kick a goal, so Lee Brown heads forward again. They are playing according to momentum, aren't they? Wells. It's tough to get it out of that scramble. We'll do it all again.
Got Kelvin more confused in his first match.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure I'm playing on this number 16 guy, but he goes forward, he goes back.
And now Lee Brown takes the ruck position, and Corey McKernan goes to the half forward.
So Brown against Ottens, a scramble one more time, might have a third bounce in the centre square. So a moment to pause and catch our breath. 3 minutes from quarter time, and the Kangaroos leading by 16 points.
He's a tough player to match up on, Lee Brown. He's so big and so mobile, and I reckon Dean Laidley's got this really working for them.
Ottens getting a hand to it. Going without it, Fleming. Maybe a fourth bounce in the centre. So more time to steady as we check in boundary side with Wayne.
Well, Anthony Stevens has come off the ground. He's getting work done on his right leg at the moment. I can't confirm exactly what it is, but I suspect by what they're doing at the moment, it could be some sort of blood issue.
Ottens palms it down. Brown quickly emerges from heavy traffic. The bounce important for Campbell. Needs support. Has it. Newman. Beautiful look away handball. Johnson. Fleming. 45 out. Goes to the top of the square. Richardson. Oh, they've taken it off him again. They've taken it off him again. And Richo is fuming.
He made a mess of it anyway. The handball missed the target.
Kangaroos will rebound to the outer side. Here's Simpson.
Simpson to the lead of Colbert, and there's a player on 30 metres downfield. Just can't quite get it to him.
What you think of that one, Matt?
Well, given what's happened before, we'll just stay with this for a minute. Ashley Watson's come on the ground. He's looking for a free kick. Tim Fleming, who is so often involved in little skirmishes like this.
Going to be 50.
It is 50, so this will take Watson inside the forward 50. Going back to the Richardson one. Well, here's the... Well, right on the 50-metre line it'll be. We see that a lot, that a full forward can virtually throw the fullback aside. He's not happy. Let's take a closer look. Well, that's the handball that was headed for Pettifer and missed. So Ashley Watson, just his 6th game of AFL football. There's not a lot to him. And perhaps doesn't think he can kick 55 metres, and he doesn't. He's given it to Ferrito, who also started on the bench. King, a fumble. Messy football. King trying to break free. Still a chance, though. Watson goes again. Bowden to Hyde. Fleming. This is more. Somehow they work it out. Pettifer wants Hilton. Hilton's got to beat Makepeace. They're all on their own. Hilton goes to ground. Wants the boundary. Makepeace gets the cavalry now in Sainsbury. Doesn't need him. Oh, well done, Troy Makepeace, and he breaks free.
Goes towards the wing. Grant on the bounce. Rawlings backs himself. Motlop, Chaffey pursuing him. One too many perhaps. Still they go. Harvey, he spoils the goodies as well. They're going the wrong way. Might come undone. Kane knocks it out. Gasper didn't look pretty. Effective though. Brown, he's classy. Can he finish it? Nathan Brown goes all the way. Putting the C into class at Punt Road. A dozen possessions in the opening term for Nathan Brown. None better than that one. And he says, Brady, how about that? Richo says, umpire Ellis, you've taken 2 off us tonight.
Well, it's just been exhilarating footy in this opening term. It's been most entertaining, and I reckon both groups of supporters have had plenty to cheer about. But the Tigers have won the last couple of minutes. Their gang tackling was superb and created a bit of nerves in a couple of the ball carriers for the Kangaroos to create the turnover. And then Nathan Brown, he's just turning on an unbelievable quarter to keep the Kangaroos, keep the Tigers in touch.
And just a few words from Brown, wasn't there, to Rawlings, saying,
Yep.
where were you? Where have you been all quarter?
Haven't seen you. You're still on me.
12 disposals, first goal for Brown. Tigers within 10 points inside the last minute of the first term. Kangaroos with the clearance though. Ferrito knocking it back to Makepeace, who's been lively. Back to Simpson, hooking round the body. McKernan the target. Here he comes, and he's got it.
That's better.
He wanted that football. Now he's in 2 minds. Called the play on. Shocking kick.
Oh, the best and
highs and
worst of
lows.
Corey, yeah.
Tivendale out wide. Still time for either side to score a goal just before quarter time. What they'll need is clean hands. And they don't get it. Harvey wrapping up more. Will have a ball up. Corey McKernan, terrific take. And then the apology later to Sav Rocker. Sorry, mate, poor kick. Almost quarter time as Ottens wins it down to Fleming, who just got it to Bowden. Terrific start by the Kangaroos. They kicked the first 3, but the Tigers have edged back. And they only trail by 10 points.
Yeah, the Tigers have got to do something about their half-forward line to make them a bit more accountable, because Troy Makepeace has been a superstar for the Kangaroos. He's had 10 possessions, and David King on the other half-back flank, he's also had 7. They're just winning too much of the football and getting it into their forward line pretty accurately and setting up a lot of goals.
Entertaining night coming up here on Fox Footy. At quarter time, Kangaroos 5-2 lead Richmond 3-4. Back with more in a moment. Option. Kangaroos to the right of screen, Tigers to the left. Second term underway on Fox Footy.
Bounce favouring Stafford, and Porter wins the ruck though. Shannon Grant, first 2 at Johnson, he missed it. Shannon Grant closed down by 3 Tigers, and there's Fleming. He loves it in close.
He would have been fired up having watched Hawthorn and Essendon this afternoon at the MCG and said, what about me?
Shannon Nolson.
I don't think he was listening to Shannon.
No, I don't think he was.
to hype himself up for the
He'd
game.
be listening to Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
I'm going to give my age away. It used to be a moving picture song, didn't it?
You are. Not by Stafford, but stolen by Harvey. Must have got a call out the back. Simpson back to Harvey. They're giving ground, but Makepeace has it now. Doesn't like to waste the footy. And Jared spoke about the half-backs getting involved right on quarter time, and already both involved. Chip kick over the top is a good one. Well weighted to Harris. Makepeace again. Colbert, the run off the half-back line, proving dangerous for the Roos. He drives it long. Rocker in front. Oh, just through his legs. It touches the ground. Play on will be the call. Will have a ball up. He disappointed there, Sav. Made good position. Used his body well, but just didn't take it.
Very close. But just getting through.
And he looks like he's just going to be too strong for Rahal. If they can get him one out, Rahal's not going to get around him, but a nice tap there by Stafford.
And Fiora tied up by Anthony Stevens. Should they go to the Gasper matchup then?
Well, Gasper's got Drew Petrie pretty covered at the present time. I think you just let it roll for a little bit longer until it becomes absolutely obvious that a change has to be made.
Brown upended Newman and gave away a free kick. Silly thing not needed there. Newman to Fiora. Tigers away all of a sudden. Fiora on a bounce. Long to half forward. Otten's the target. Well, did well to spoil it away from Colbert, but the Kangaroos have numbers. Porter floating around down back. Makepeace going wide. Well done, Fleming. covered good ground late to knock it away from Grant and force a boundary throw in. Here's another angry ant. Here's Tim Fleming, playing his 26th game at 26 years of age. A latecomer to AFL football, as is Kelvin Moore, the 20-year-old not coming out of the TAC Cup, but getting his chance tonight. From the boundary throw in, Fleming at ground level. Handball stolen by Simpson. Rawlings and Brown wearing one another closely. A few jumper pulls, no whistle. Grant goes without it. Petrie slapped it onto Rawlings. Wills is quick. Penetrating kick over the head of Rocker. Motlop, Rocker, Harding with him. Sav goes himself. And he should have given it off to Harding in hindsight.
I don't know about that. I think he just should have kicked the goal.
Yeah.
Well,
we saw one
that's
today.
true.
We saw one today, and I think it was Favola who had a brilliant day in Adelaide, just trying to bounce the ball through. Once the ball bounces, you're playing into that. You know, you're delving in fate. That should have been a drop punt.
That was a wobbly drop punt from Newman that finds Campbell. And the switch is on to Fiora. Kangaroos have manned up well here.
Handball.
Forced to use it. Campbell again to the wing. Hilton. The ball will beat all players over. Troy Makepeace. 13 disposals. The leading ball winner on the ground at the moment. Boundary throw, and it'll be Stafford up against Lee Brown. Johnson, quick give to Brown. Tigers go forward once again. Ottens and Colbert. And another boundary throw. And let's head back down to Wayne Schwass on the boundary.
Yes, thanks, Matthew. Chris Hyde hasn't made his way back from making his way down into the toilets. He's got some sort of stomach virus at the moment. The doctor's got him, excuse my expression, but he's got him at the urinal trying to pass some fluids at the moment. He's having his own personal battles down there at the moment, yet to make his way back onto the ground.
Thanks, Wayne. You're excused. Stevens. No one there for the Kangaroos. Sitting all his own is Campbell. With some time for Richardson. Stretching over the back. No one there for the Tigers. And they should clear. Colbert, the man with the football.
Following on from the early discussion, they relieve the pressure there.
Yes, it certainly redefines what we know in football as clearances.
It's getting worse.
Porter to Wells as we flick between the Comedy Channel and Fox Footy tonight. Wells towards Motlop against Gaspar. What a good mark. He is strong overhead as Motlop. That was a beauty. Now Rocker waits back in the square. Motlop gives him a chance. And Sav, can he go off the ground perhaps? Working against Hall. Now Chappie doesn't concede a behind. Takes them on. Risky, is it? No. Stafford's got the mark. Tigers turn defence into attack. High one on the wing. Hilton. Anthony Stevens dives. He couldn't get there. Makepeace goes to ground. Hardigan the pressure.
Well,
good footy. Will have a bounce. No whistle by the umpire for a free.
It's just difficult to interpret this the way they do, because Troy Makepeace, he did everything right there by the way tradition says that you've got to chase after the footy, and yet some would argue that he got it pinned underneath him and the umpires were inconsistent.
Brown. Anthony Stevens dumped. Tigers drag it in. Stafford, well done. Campbell gains 15 metres but turns it over. Harvey, Pearl, Michael Stevens. Wonderful kick from Harvey. Now Anthony Stevens, Rocket charging at him saying, give it to me. He tried to, over his head. Tigers to clear. Fiora can work to the outer side.
But Bowden up the middle.
Yes, he just spotted him. Either him or Johnson. Two options. Tivendale out to Stafford. Newman, good build-up this by the Tigers. They head in the Ottens direction. Off the knee, beautifully rode, Cracker. Good goal, Tigers! Superb front and square play. Just comes straight on the ground, ran straight to the contest and kicked the goal. That's what he's in the team for.
It is, and what he's sorely been lacking just in this first quarter and a bit. We know he lined up, who was it on? It was on Makepeace, and he was distracted, I'm sure, by the amount of football that Makepeace was getting. He wasn't in any shape or form in an attacking frame of mind. Danny did well, brought him off the ground, got him to just reset, rethink. and back on with a snag.
Well, they conceded the opening 3 goals inside of 7 minutes from the first bounce, the Tigers. Now they're back within 5 points and within sight of the lead in this match. Stafford and Porter share it. Porter on the second effort, but Newman sharks it. And Bowden drives it long. Target Otten's in front. Off hands, Richardson. Well swoops, goes without the footy. Colbert tied up. Richardson's got Hartigan. This for the lead. Tigers in front. Brent Hartigan with the second goal of his career. Worries for Dean Raveley now.
Yeah, good clearance by the Tigers. Had to work hard. Bowden's long kick to Ottens, I think, was the difference. Just worked really hard to get the footy and created the crumbs, and all of a sudden the Tigers have got a few players up and running at ground level.
5 of the last 7 for the Tigers. Hartigan started on the bench. Played every game in his debut season.
And strangely, Lee Brown is staying in that half-forward line. They're not continuing with their on-again, off-again policy of the first quarter.
Harris, well, got a call out the side and play just went to ground. So he's had to follow up and go himself. Beautifully done. Harding scrubbers it forward. Chaffee with a clean take. Not much to kick to. Round the body. Harris again. He's everywhere. Low percentage kick by hooking it back into the middle. Now with the dangerous Harvey. Brown provides a long lead and is on it. Good hard running. Came from the goal square, went out on an arc and came back in to the corridor, and Harvey spotted him.
And they'll be pulling their hair out, I think, in the Tigers coaching box with that last kick of Chaffee's. I mean, there's no point in just winning it and blasting away. That's footies of the 70s and the 80s. That either had to go to a teammate or the boundary line.
Boundary line, yeah.
Rather than bringing it back in and playing Russian roulette.
Brown's kicked 9 goals for the season, 6 of those coming in the one game against the Crows. To get the lead back for the Kangaroos. The Tigers have had it for just a smidgen, and that's the margin that it was missed as he hits the post. Wayne Schwartz down in the boundary.
Yes, Chris Hyde has made his way back out, and I think the best way to sum this one up is he didn't go out the back with his box. He's received a knock in the nether region, and it's a little bit worse for wear, it's fair to say.
Well put, Wayne. Gamble to bring it back into play. Hope our viewers understand cricket parlance as Campbell goes to Fiora in the back pocket. Wide to the outer side, very wide, ill-directed kick. Petrie takes the mark. Let off for the Kangaroos. Under some pressure now, the Roos. Target is rocking with 2 to beat. At the back, this is Brown. Caught by the first game and more. Kane Johnson dribbles it forward. Gasper did well. Put the body on the line. Forced a boundary throwing. Aaron Fiora getting up a little gingerly. Trainers wave him on. He'll be okay.
Halfway through the second term, and Brady Rawlings is fighting back.
Yeah, shutting him down. Stafford, Newman, Bowden, caught. Harris the tackle. Anthony Stevens. Brown knocked it down. Rawlings now. The defensive negator. Can he conjure up the footy himself? He can't. Brown is there, his direct opponent, and Brown wins out. Campbell, cracker. Tigers there, full of commitment. Towards Ottens, in a wrestle with Colbert. Play on the call. Ottens does very well. Ottens does brilliantly. Bowden on the non-preferred. Centres it. Hartigan on Richardson. They're caught behind. Sainsbury goes without it. Tigers still a chance. Sainsbury's caught. He's caught. Tigers hail the cab. We'll have a bounce 20 out from the Richmond goal.
That's the sort of stuff that Tiger fans are looking for Brad Ottens consistently. He was 1 against 2 there. Yep. He brought the ball to ground. He was charged in after it, got himself back in the contest and laid it off. It's quality stuff.
Both ruckmen spoiled it for one another out of the bounce as Colbert clears to midfield. And Lee Brown had it, lost it. Fiora, quick hands. Campbell steadies, might have a shot now. The skipper blazes to the right-hand side, out on the full.
It's getting plenty of it, though. the skipper. Already 10 disposals, and the scores are level with just over 11 minutes remaining in the first half. Colbert to bring it in. Taking his time, waiting for a free player, or will he be forced to kick to a contest? That's what Richmond are attempting to get him to do, but he's off and running. Refused to do so.
And Harding's worked really hard, used his pace, and he just got away from his opponent.
Fiora was the opponent. He
Couldn't
ran
go with him.
80, 90 metres to get to that. Petrie over his head. Harvey was coming through. Petrie went and then scooped it out the back towards him. Motlop let it go for Harvey. Off the bounce, back to Motlop. Hugging the boundary Wells. Back inside to Harvey. That is patient football. The finish has let them down because Rahul's got it and he's away. Rebound football. Campbell sprints to the wing. Stafford's trying to get it to him. Finally he does. Campbell's got 25 metres.
He's got to come inside also.
Bowden, he'll try to get on his left. He's got time. Hall, Bowden's under the punt. Clever kick. Fleming running. Long kick to the goal square. What? And Richo, the ball bounces through. Hits the post. We'll have a throw in. Richo has spent more time looking and chatting and discussing things with the umpire. And he's looking up the replay, looking for help.
Surely I should have had one there. He now chats to umpire Ellis, who looks to umpire Ellis, who he had a good chat with in that first quarter. Boundary throw-in. Kangaroos have numbers, and sheer weight of numbers means they'll get the footy, and Makepeace discipline Dower defence forces a boundary throw-in. All square at the Telstra Dome. Saturday night footy on Fox Footy. Hope you can join us tomorrow. Jared and I from Subiaco for Fremantle and Melbourne. That will be some sort of match tomorrow afternoon. A 4:10 start Eastern time.
Yeah, it should be a great big game. Most people tipping Fremantle, given that it is their home ground and home game. Melbourne coming after another road trip to Brisbane, but they'll be looking to make amends.
Scramble here on the wing. And that's going nowhere. We'll have another bounce. We've ticked past the halfway mark in this second quarter. Greg Miller to join us at halftime. Adam Simpson replaced by Shannon Grant. Wayne Schloss.
Aaron Fiora has succumbed to that knock that he received in that marking contest 5 minutes ago, and is getting some heavy work done on his hip with an ice pack being applied at the same moment.
Waiting for someone to break this game open. Will it be Boomer? Harvey. Well-weighted kick. Wonderful kick from Michael Stevens. Now he's a fraction too far out. He's got Harris leading into the forward line. He's got Rocket charging out of the goal square. He declines both. Goes long to Harding. And at the back wall, Motlop goes without it. Gee, it was a golden chance, wasn't it? A gilt-edged opportunity. And the umpire had called for a bounce. That goal will not be paid.
Speaking of Michael Stevens, he's doing an excellent job on Greg Tivendale, one of the Tigers' best midfielders. He hasn't had a touch this quarter, Tivendale. He had 5 in the first. If you go for a fly like that, you've just got to mark him when you're that close to goal, because it was, to use the same phrase, Russian roulette there at the end.
Yeah, you'd love to see just a big, huge punch, wouldn't you? Play the percentage. Stafford, quick give to Newman. To Hall. Bounce favouring the Tigers. Well, it did for a minute, then went back to the Roos. King, good give. Back to Stevens. They spread it wide. Michael Stevens got it from Anthony. Colbert peels off. He's used, and he just slows it down. Plenty of players now getting back for Richmond. Pretty crowded forward 50. Colbert looking for Petrie. It's all Tigers, and it's Stafford. Too easy in that situation. That's not a good kick. King should spoil. Hilton got it. King went too early. Bowden up the line towards Cracker. Misplaced kick. Communication breakdown for a second there between Harris and Makepeace. In the end, Makepeace gives it over to Sainsbury. Now they try to switch it laterally again. And Colbert almost with another chance. Through the middle to Sainsbury. Right in the middle of the ground. Breaking. Runs his full measure. Long ball. Motlop's good overhead. Got it.
That was a good call, Matt. A great kick by Eddie Sainsbury. He looks a player, Sainsbury. He's had a number of games in his debut year. And he's pinpointed a bloke who just seems to get under the Garter club's Chaffee,
They don't respect his marking. I mean, they see him as a crumbing forward where he takes the most contested marks. He's very good overhead.
and I think you can tell by the matchup, Chaffee's just not noted for his loop.
Motlop got one in the first quarter. He's got one in the second, and the Kangaroos are back in front. Daniel Motlop, goal number 20 for the season, the leading goal scorer for the Roos, courtesy of those good, strong hands.
Roos are working their ruck and half back pretty well. They're interchanging occasionally, just the ruck dropping across that half back line and Colbert bursting out to the wing. When Ottens goes forward, occasionally Colbert doesn't go with him, and when Ottens goes into defence, Colbert just stays back and becomes almost an extra running player. But this guy is a super talent over his head, and maybe the matchup just needs to be looked at.
First goal for the quarter for the Kangaroos. Took 18 minutes, but it's enough to restore the lead. As McKernan and Stafford will now contest. Stafford wide of Newman. Lee Brown. Rawlings coming in off the line. Slips the tackle once, twice. Hurries at the half forward. Petrie Harding the target. Petrie now. Harvey going too quick. Goes without it. Did well though. Petrie flings it out. Harvey tied up. A bounce 50 out from the Kangaroo goal. They were charging about so quick, which players are prone to do at this venue as we check the leading ball winners tonight.
It looked like Brent Harvey was off and running. So a pretty good job. A pretty good matchup at the moment with him and Newman.
McKernan to Rawlings from the outside of the boot. Petrie tried to trap it. Motlop clever. Ferrito, half a chance. Great goal! Two in 2 minutes for the Kangaroos. Ferrito with poise up forward there. And they're out by a couple of goals. Wonderful little setup to enable the Ferrito goal.
Yeah, it was McKernan who fought hard for that front position. Brady Rawlings, I'm not sure if the stats man will be generous in giving one, but they all count. They're just all barging the ball forward.
And the Motlop give.
The Motlop little give with the foot, little touch on.
That's an assist.
That is the perfect assist.
And Ferrito was almost a reverse banana.
Not a bad finish, was it?
He's called Spud, like the Tiger coach.
7-4 to 5-4. I'm not sure what to say after that, Clint. But two quick goals to the Roos as Campbell back to Hyde. He bangs it forward. Colbert, he's got it! Terrific mark. He's been very good in his second term creating the contest. And when Richardson's not getting it, that's what the Tigers need. A second option inside forward 50.
Stafford coming from the ground. I'd say Swatter would be replaced by Schultz.
Correct weight, Jared.
Jay Schultz to come on as we see the juggling mark there by Brad Ottens. Two behinds so far for the evening. To get the goal back quickly after the Roos scoring two and bring the margin back to one straight kick. He'd back him from directly in front. 45 metres out. It's straight home. Ottens gets his first and the margin back to 6 points.
As you said earlier, Matty's a magnificent shot at goal. Just keeps himself really balanced. Let's have a look at this clearance here. McKernan gets it down, but ruck taps have little to do with clearances, it seems. And the ball just went straight forward, and there was that extra body weight and strength just clearing the Colbert entanglement, and a magnificent kick.
Entertaining night. A goal the difference. We forecast early that it would be physical and it would be close, and it's bearing out that way. Clearances from the middle, 6-6. McKernan down to Harris, 7-6 the Roos way you fancy coming up. Harris tucks it under the arm, delivers to Harding. Strong hands. Two kicks out from goal. As we work our way towards 5 minutes from half-time, Petrie leading very wide. Couple in from the boundary at right half forward. Go quickly. Top of the goal square, McKernan. Oh, courage, Hall going back into the path of McKernan, takes the mark. Chaffee now as the Tigers look to rebound. More the target. The first gamer's got the mark. Sets up his skipper. Delivers to Ottens. One hand, not the second. Colbert pursuing him well, doing well not to give away a free kick. We've only had 5 free kicks for the match. 2 to the Kangaroos, 3 to Richmond. We'll have a bounce there.
I think we just should highlight that mark of Ray Hall's. I know the Sydney Swans are red hot on Ray Hall at the end of last season, wanted to get him in, a taller running player. You can see why at fullback he's conceded a couple of goals, but he's also created a lot of forward play for the Tigers and doing pretty well.
Campbell just tries to get the boot on the ball and couldn't. And he's getting some help from Hyde underneath. And they just jump on top of each other for another ball up. 4 minutes remaining in this first half. Just a 6-point margin. Nathan Brown with 12 disposals in the first quarter, now with just 2 in this second term. Well held by Rawlings.
But I think the smart coaching has just accepted that he isn't on a bit of a downer at the present time for 10 minutes. They've pushed him into the goal square, and a new challenge for Rawlings. They've also got an extra man down there at the moment, Colbert.
Ottens won it. Moore was clever. Shouldered arms. So did Campbell. To the goal square for Richardson. Got to beat 2 and he can't. Here's a chance for Hilton. Got a call. Quick one towards Brown. Bowden came in to lend a hand. They're still going, the Tigers. They want a free kick. Campbell gets the kick. It's still in play. Up goes Shannon Watt. Up goes Ferrito. Rawlings is there. It refuses to go out. Someone will take it over the line shortly. No, we'll have a ball up. Frenetic play inside 25 metres around from the goal. And still another chance for the Tigers. Pushing and shoving near the ruck. Ottens won it to Brown. Couldn't slip the tackle. Cracker. So dangerous in this position. Kicks it down the corner. Brilliant finish. Sometimes in footy, you've got to get the ball in the hands of the right bloke at the right time, and that's what happened there. His second goal, not many other players could have created that opportunity.
Multiple interchanges for both clubs. Simpson coming on, as is Kane Johnson. Have a look at this for Magic. Brown gets it, just got away from Rawlings, but you want to give it to blokes who are not necessarily looking for that easy handball off. He went all the way himself there, Cracker. Great dummy. And, well, he's got it in the genes.
Certainly has. 2 goals to Cracker. Scores level.
And Miles, son of Phil, being given the green light this week to be drafted by the Kangaroos under the father-son this year. All square at the Dome, less than 3 minutes from half-time. And the Roos might pinch it again. Grant towards Petrie, has a couple to beat, including Gasper strong hands.
Good battle, this.
Yep. And the ramifications significant. Pettifer. Sainsbury. Free kick, advantage play on. Simpson to Motlop. Now, right on the edge of his range. McKernan leading forward. Motlop loads it up. Gives it everything. Hooks it, though, getting the distance. The Kangaroos in front by that behind. A little bit too eager there, perhaps. Daniel Motlop, the 22-year-old, originally out of North Adelaide. Chaffey to bring it back into play.
He's had 7 possessions, Daniel Motlop, which is a lot for a bloke who's playing up in that deep forward position.
4 marks too. Now, how are the Tigers bringing it back into play? Chaffey to a contest. Oh, spectacular leap from Schultz.
Well, I hope my car's not underneath that, because it may have a dented roof.
Attention, please, as Schultz climbs high.
Super leap. And plenty of attention and a heavy landing.
Yeah.
Here's Cracker. Through the middle, kick spot on to Moore. Running is high. Beautiful pass to Brown. Lovely work, Tigers. Brown called the play on. Can he get around? Onto his right boot. High ball. Still alive here for Richmond. Stevens the spoil. Roden. Quick give. Richardson just lost his footing. And Watt sees it over the boundary line. The Roos are in front by a point. The Tigers are still pressing.
And I think we've just got to go back to that Brownie. I think the whole stadium knew Brownie was trying to use the handball received as the dummy.
Yep.
And Brady Rawlings knows. Everybody is amazed at his evasive skills, and I think more people are looking out for them. So he's got to put that trick in the bag, I think, for a while.
Free kick against Ferrito on Bowden. It may be reversed, or is it just settle down. It's the settle down chat from umpire Ellis. Kangaroo fans want it reversed as Bowden looks for Richardson. On a long lead, McKernan comes in to help Richardson. Good. Look at that from Cracker. Can he make it 3 1/4? Off one step, he just pushes it wide. Just for the behind. Perfect crumbing from Cracker, and he is a danger man at the minute.
And a minute to go. Scores level. Half-time coming up. They've played out some thrillers in recent times. Maybe another one unfolding. Oh, Makepeace. Reading the ball beautifully. Check inside of a minute. Petrie and Gasper. Boundary throwing. Right in front of Wayne Schwass, who I reckon's enjoying it. In fact, here he is, getting a touch. And in true rugby tradition, like his background, it was a rugby union flick back rather than a handball. Enjoying it, Wayne?
Absolutely loving it, mate. It's the first touch in a while.
Tigers to emerge through Roden. The 50-gamer. Still time. Centering ball. Hilton hurries it quickly. Knew he had men there. Good vision. Bowden delivers to Brown. And he's got it. The mark is paid. Rawlings perhaps claiming that he provided the first touch through a spoil. The umpire was so far away he had no chance. Brown from just on the 50. Maybe Brown the first and third touches. Mark though paid, and an important kick at goal here. A score to give Richmond the lead at half-time. He's been a star of the first half with 16 possessions. Siren will sound on the approach. This to give Richmond the lead, and he does. It's a behind only. What a first half of footy. 7-6 to 7-5. The Tigers by a point. It's everything we were hoping for.
Yeah, I think you're right, Clinton. Some great matchups. Brady Rawlings and Nathan Brown. Brown probably best on ground at half-time, but Rawlings took the quarter, I think, in a points decision. He took the quarter. Richo yet to really have an impact on the match, although he's fought pretty hard. Ottens was important in that turn.
Tigers by a point. Greg Miller to join us at half-time here on Fox Footy, Saturday Night Football. Season on the line, finals-like intensity out on the field. Both teams eating the words of their coaches to leave it all out there tonight. 7-6, 7-5 our scoreline. Tigers by a point. Matty, who are you tipping?
Well, I think if the Kangaroos can get some more out of players such as Shannon Grant, who's been very quiet with just 4 disposals, if they can get their midfield up and running and dominant at those clearances, they can get back and win this game. Nothing in it, and I think we're going to have another close one for the 4th year in a row, Clinton.
We hope so. Tigers by a point. Third term underway with Stafford having to wait and Simpson the third man up. Now, free kick, you can't do that, says the umpire, because you weren't the designated ruckman and it was a contestable bounce. So the Tigers win the free. Very rarely do you see that whistle. Brown kicked it forward. Grant, though, gets in the way. Lee Brown now. Oh, the first game of Kelvin Moore. Look good. Kicks good. Brown now. Richo charging out. Targets him. He has to wait. Plays on. Kick the feet. Oh, says, don't come near me, Eddie. Kicks towards the goal square. It bounces across the face to double the lead. He nearly knocked Sansbury out as he fended him off. Another look. Richardson keeping his feet. Eddie falling back. 7-7, play 7-5. I reckon we're in for a good second half.
First score to Richardson in this second half. That's not a good kick in. It's well spoiled by Newman, and the desired result for the Tigers.
That may well be the first kick in that the Tigers have been able to generate a neutral ball on.
Yeah, it's been coming out of there quick and fast, hasn't it? So can they get something from this stoppage? Scooting through underneath was Campbell, as we see Hilton, Pettifer and Schultz, and Aaron Fiora's been running down the boundary, just trying to check out that hip that he copped the knock on earlier, trying to get fit for perhaps a return. Harris returned straight back in to Joel Bowden. Umpire letting it go for a while. It comes out the back to Anthony Stevens. 2-on-1 here. Spoil over the top from Moore, wants the boundary line and finds it. Or does he? It's scooped back in. And somehow, the Tigers are alive. Johnson, too high. Too much height on that. Good take, though, by Newman. Gasper, chip over the top. Hardigan should give off and does. Chaffee on his left. Richardson, the target. Again, he's got to beat two. Turns around, and there's the football. Colbert legged. Play on. How?
Heavens.
Shannon Watt. Over to Porter. Back to Colbert, and Motlop again with those good hands. Needed to be there. Whoops. Ran into Harvey. Back pedals. Somehow stayed free. Wobbles the kick forward. Gasper in the right spot for the Tigers. Goes straight back towards centre forward. Spots Cracker. Didn't take it. Campbell tried to give on the up. Couldn't do so. Gets a free kick in the back. 60 metres out from goal, and the skipper, who had a terrific second term. Richardson one out in the goal square.
Hard to imagine how that umpire missed that trick.
Almost took his leg off. He'll be told the kick in a second. He is really taking his time. And then eventually Richardson got free.
Well, that was hard to fathom because Mark Porter sat in the same spot and he confused Wayne Campbell. He didn't confuse him, he just blocked him. There wasn't an obvious target. Then Richo finally decided to move away from the 2-on-1 scenario. Campbell honoured it. Porter stayed in exactly the same position. And Richo comes up with an easy mark, or a good mark.
This for his second, and the Tigers lead by 2 to stretch it to 8. Well within his range, 45 metres out, straight through. Goal umpire didn't move. The perfect finish for Richo, and a good start for the Tigers in the second half.
They trailed this match by as many as 3 goals, but it's been 8-4 since that point. And here's the second of the leads from Richardson. Look at that. Porter was just standing there, just filling the gap. And eventually, they realised, well, hang on, Richo's a chance here. And the Tigers are now out by 8 points, and he looks graceful, the big man, in slow motion.
That was great camera work. You could just see Richo's eyes on the ball right until it got into his hands. A lot of players almost blink or duck their head, but Richo head up, knowing that the big whack was going to come from Watt.
8 points the lead, early third quarter. Stafford flicking it down. Running onto it, Brady Rawlings. Bangs it inside 50. Moore. Couldn't quite hang on to it. Petrie, Brown diving in there. Bounce, centre half forward for the Kangaroos. Let's check in with Wayne Schwass.
Thanks, Clinton. Shannon Grant hasn't had the best of nights with only 5 possessions. Dean Laley's now got him trying to run with Joel Bowden, who's had 13. But Chris Hyde is following Shannon Grant 2-on-1 at the moment.
Anthony Stevens, creative. Chaffee conceding. Free kick, though, coming back. The behind will not stand. Tigers winning a free from that marking contest. Chaffee goes quickly to Campbell on half-back. Winning a welter of possession now. That's his 17th touch. Finds Fleming. Kane Johnson will look to try and get involved here. Cracker on a long lead, unable to hang on. Oh, look at that. Well, Makepeace didn't give up on it, did he? It was a good duel. It's a terrific one to watch. Rawlings to Simpson, to Motlop. Watson on the run. 50 out. Goes for home. Ray Hall did well to keep it in. Rocker had given up on it 15 metres away. Hall just slapped it back in and feeds it wide for Fleming, who takes it over for a boundary throw-in.
Well, I think Ray could have done a bit better in the finish, but at least he got his hand on it. He was a bit mesmerised. But he had Gasper on the other side of the ground, who he could have laid it off to. Brilliant hands by Andrew Cracker.
Long way from Woy Woy is Ray Hall. The bright Saturday night lights at the Dome as Stevens for Grant. Touch of the fumbles. Not his night yet. Johnson's got him. Ball held in. Umpire Matthew Head calls for a bounce.
Swatter, it's almost the reverse of the first of the start of the match, where the Kangaroos midfielders dominated for the first 10 minutes. This time it's the Tigers.
Yeah, as I said in that halftime break, Joe, they just look as though they've got a bit more in the tank at the moment. The Tigers got a fair bit more run.
Here's some run from King. Chips back into the middle, missed the target. Could be very costly. Plenty of Tigers there. Fleming caught. No prior opportunity. We'll have a ball up inside the Kangaroos forward 50 with an 8-point margin. And Shannon Grant, just the 5 at disposals, Wayne mentioned. He has an average of 23. Normally gets plenty of the ball and uses it so well. Still trying to get on to Bowden, right of screen. Knocked forward. Harvey had the pace, couldn't quite get clean hands. Standing, Hall. Little give to Newman. He's allowed to go free. Has to hit the target here, and he does. Clever kick. Finds Roden. Roden up the line. Through Otten's hands. Over the back, Stevens. Harris, strong take. Midfield now. Thinks about switching, goes towards Petrie on a long lead. Little nudge there from Hall. Motlop, caught, keeps it in. Tries to invent something, almost did. Hall stayed with him, affected the tackle and wins the free kick. Never give up on the contest.
And 50 for mouthing off. Almost unfortunate, Jared, that the man that created the play, that kept the ball in, is the man that's pinged.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the vagaries of football. Just wondering, Swatter, whether you'd consider Lee Brown and a Petrie swap.
Yeah, I think that wouldn't be a bad move at the moment, Jared. He just gives you another couple of options, presenting or doing a job, running up and down the ground. Lee Brown. Drew Petrie sort of faded out of the game at the moment.
Otten's claimed by Colbert. Divendale caught, high tackle. 5 free kicks to none this quarter. Johnson to fall forward. Richardson waiting at the back. He's claimed by Watt. Porter for Brown. Kangaroos rebound. Watson has got a panic on the wing if it sits in for him. Awkward bounce, out of bounds.
And Daniel Wells interchanges with Watson, so he was running to the interchange, and unfortunately that's why you don't kick balls along the ground, because the mongrel can bounce on all sorts of angles.
Kangaroos haven't scored this quarter. Tigers by 8 points. Free kick going the Tigers' way. 6 to none this quarter. After they won just 4 in the entire first half.
I reckon it'd be good to see Daniel Wells just stay on for the rest of the match.
Ball will come back. Ball will come back.
Just to see if he can run into some form.
Yep. He was on the verge of being dropped this season. Hasn't been yet, Daniel Wells. They're persisting with him. Wayne Schloss.
Yeah, look, just a little bit more to add on that Drew Petrie Brown move that Jared mentioned. You've got Mark Porter dropping back in the hole, trying to block Matthew Richardson. Probably not a bad move for Drew Petrie to get up there. He's got support in Porter. Give Lee Brown some room in the forward line.
Excellent kick from Hyde to Hall. Plays on to Brown. The Kangaroos, they're awake up to it. Turnover. Here they go. Petrie rolling. Stevens, Motlop, they're queuing up. Give it to Harvey, they say. Wells might. Harvey wants it. Harvey will get it. Play on. And Boomer steadies. Left foot. Goes for it. He's got it. And the Kangaroos are back in it. They read the Tigers like a book at the other end. And from the turnover, they surged forward in waves. It had to end in a Harvey goal after the Kangaroos knew Brown was going to get it.
Well, Nathan Brown and the Tigers have just got to accept that the old 3-card trick doesn't work anymore.
You saw the hand up stop from Kane Johnson saying, no, don't do it.
Go back and have a shot.
Get clear, yeah.
There's a couple of times now the Tigers have broken down, and that time it really hurt because the transfer was clean and it was pure, and it ended up in 6 points for the Kangaroos.
Harvey's first goal for the evening. He's had 14 disposals. They ended up with the right bloke to finish there. This is Kane Johnson. Cut off by Michael Stevens. Goes back through the middle. Wells wanted it, got it. Whoops. Skates through the centre circle. Out over to the run of Makepeace. Likes to use the ball well. That's no exception to Rocker.
Better play by the Kangaroos. Now it's their turn for their midfield to get back on top. They've got a problem, the Tigers, with Greg Tivendale. Hasn't had a possession for 1.5 quarters. So they either take him off the ground, they find another matchup for him, they stick him on one of the Kangaroos' best midfielders. They've got to just try something, because one of their best players and one of their best kicks is just not getting near it. Good transfer of momentum, and the Kangaroos have a chance now to snatch back the lead.
He kicked two very early in the game. One from the identical spot that he's kicking from now. For his third, for the Roos, and the lead. Sav's got 3. The Roos are back in front. The margin 4 points.
Been a terrific player, Sav Rocker, for a couple of clubs. But the great highlight about his whole career has been the unbelievable kicking style. He's got Daniel Wells once again involved. That's the last 2 goals Wells has been involved in. I know he's going to have his ups and downs as a young player, but he's such a talented player.
Who did you vote for in the end? Sav or Anthony in the Rocker brother vote-off the other week on Sports Today?
I think, well, Robert Walls posed the question, who's had the best career, Anthony or Sav? Well, Anthony's got near on 700 goals. Sav's got near on 700 goals. It's a pretty good record to beat.
We'll take that as a vote for the big number 26. They're in front. Simpson bangs it forward. Bowden, though, waiting back there. Sold the dummy, got around Harris and Stevens. Well done, Bowden. Long ball. Richardson getting back. Ottens and Lee Brown with courage. Doubling back into the pack. Out wide for Colvin. Now Sansbury. To the outer wing, the target, Petrie. Gasper against him. Does well. Lays it off for Fleming.
Cracker's on his own.
Goes to him. Cracker has to wait for it. Cleverly knocks it on. Roden a chance. Fumbles. Gets it back. Caught. Kangaroos defence holding up. David King charging out. Hits the taut well. But the Tigers back there. Hardigan wants to get it on quickly. Bouncing around from end to end. Chaffee to Kane Johnson. Will he go long? He does, towards the top of the square. Shannon Watt read the footy well. Peeling off Richardson. Takes the mark.
Kane Johnson just asking for the players to run at him, not to run to the fat side of the ground, because he can't kick a 70 metres.
Kanga's defence superb at the moment, holding resolute. Here's Wells, clean tape below the knees. And he can go here. He can keep going. No one comes to him. Kicks it long towards Rocker. Got it.
Well, the signs are there. Chaffee's on Daniel Wells. That's the bloke you'd go for Greg Tivendale for. Get him onto Wells, because he's got too many tricks for Greg.
Rocker wanted a clear goal square. Sorry, Jared. He called Harding out. Wanted the clear goal square. Didn't matter. He made the distance, but hits the post.
Yeah, I just think he's too gifted for Mark Chaffee. He can jump like Michael Jordan, and he can. He's pretty good at ground level as well. In fact, he may jump better than Michael Jordan.
Oh,
well, that's a big
ball, Jared.
Sorry for
that's a big call. High, deep to full forward. Richardson waiting back. The bounce important. Bang! Crash straight through King. Tigers still a chance. Sansbury and Roden. Brown takes it. Handball back to Rawlings. Oh boy. Big Richo charging through King there. Tigers with a chance. Chappie. Wells pursuing him like lightning. Now make peace on Bowden. Gets it onto Hyde quickly. No place for the faint of heart out there now. Hyde for Bowden, for Fleming. Tigers build again. Campbell, short, Johnson. 70 out. Waits. Takes some time.
They're really Richo conscious. They got Ottens there, but they've found Richo this time.
And now, a question of accuracy for Richardson and a possible third goal.
Would you settle for a better drop punt than Michael Jordan?
I think we'll give that one. Here is Richardson. Lining up, but missing. He's now kicked 2 goals, 3. And the Tigers, 4 points adrift. The Kangaroos are 9-6-60. Richmond are 8-8-56.
Brother, what a score.
This will be David King. It's a kick here now. It's a different zone completely from the Tigers. It's a half zone, if you like, and the rest went man on man. Forced it wide to Troy Makepeace. who's having a wonderful evening. Been outstanding so far. This will be disposal number 19. Doesn't waste too many. Brent Harvey. Let's go down to Wayne Schwass.
Not too sure if the respective coaches listened to the call, but I tell you what, Jared, you're on the money. Drew Petrie's now gone to centre half back. Lee Brown's moved up into the forward line for the Kangaroos.
Speaking of on the money, Daniel Wells involved again.
Air Wells.
Air Wells.
Doesn't quite roll off the tongue, does it?
Not as good as Oil Wells. This is Porter. Harding can come at this. Oh, he went too early. Rocker, tough one for Sav on the left. Throws it out in front. Hall wants the boundary line. May not get it. He won't. He'll get pinged here. Play on. Stevens. A miraculous kick. A magnificent goal. You beauty. In an instant, he throws it on the boot. Forget the free kick. He's kicked the goal of the week so far.
If that's not on the winners with you tomorrow night, then I'm not watching. It's the goal of the round. It has to be.
Magnificent.
Roden coming from the ground for Richmond. Been replaced by Kane Pettifer. And we were right behind that one. Very few players have the ability to make the ball move in the air. And I'm not sure Anthony meant it, but it was a classic goal.
Oh, he'll take it.
That is something special. He couldn't believe it. Needed confirmation from the goal umpire. Kangaroos have kicked 3 goals in 8 minutes to turn an 8-point deficit into a 10-point lead. Harris given some latitude. Harvey's got men on. Michael Stevens to his brother. Play on. To Rocker coming out. Got it on the bounce. Harding, quick. Needs to be a better finisher than normal. And he is! They're on the match! Harding's got his 3rd. All hands on deck now for the Tigers as they fall 16 points behind.
Worrying times now for Danny Frawley. But Anthony Stevens once again involved this time. I reckon Daniel Wells, he thought he was going to grab it again there. I'm surprised he actually didn't give it. It was the instantaneous one, but Harding, that was a great goal. So much pace, he just is unstoppable once the ball's in his hands.
Fabulous finish from Harding. In the blink of an eye, Danny Frawley is now down by 16 points. And the job ahead for the Tigers, who had a glut of possession early and couldn't make a dent on the scoreboard.
The Tigers have picked up the influence that Wells has had. They've moved Gasper just at the start there. Now he's on the way up into the forward line. So this is an interesting move. Gasper is going forward to man up Petrie because Petrie has just been sitting there in the hole.
Plenty of players around the ball and going over the top. The Kangaroos work it through Ferrito. This is Tivendale towards Gasper, and Petrie read it well. The spoil to the advantage of Simpson. He just couldn't get the bounce he wanted. Gasper's got to beat Petrie. Kept going. The give to Campbell. He's away. Sums up his options. The best one is Alton's on the lead. Colbert works him under the ball nicely. Has plenty of time. Can just go back and made a meal of it. Alton's just got to get it back towards Brown. Too much on the give. Ferrito decides to just break and kick. Tough one to mark. Shannon Grant to Wells. Stepping and moving and giving off back to Ferrito. Back to Wells. Up the line. Good kick. Lee Brown. Kangaroos move forward with purpose again. Brown wants Rocker. Goes longer. Spots Michael Stevens. Wonderful kick from Lee Brown.
He's had a great game, Michael Stevens. Done a very good job on Greg Tivendale. He's been involved in a lot of forward moves by the Kangaroos, and now he has an opportunity to go back and make life tough for the Tigers.
This is just a great bit of vision from Lee Brown. Saw Rocker coming. Saw Stevens running on the diagonal. Gave it an extra 10 metres off the left boot. Stevens has kicked 4 behinds for the year. This for his first of 2004. Make no mistake, it's a 22-point ball game. The Roos are killing them.
Well, this is it now for the Tigers. This is their season right here. Kangaroos with 5 unanswered goals. Another look from the opposite side.
Well, it was a vision that Matthew spoke about. He saw him pushing deep into the forward line, Michael Stevens, and he just got the weight right. And he just slides it through. 6 possessions since he came onto the ground, Daniel Wells.
Had a factor, and been a factor, no doubt, in this third quarter charge. He's loitering back in the goal square now with the Kangaroos suddenly 22 points in front. McKernan and Ottens. McKernan to Harris. Chips it short. 15 metres. Harvey paid the mark and now gets it free for a highway. Harris comes in for a remonstration with Campbell. And is that the umpire reaching for the book? He's reported the Tigers skipper. Wayne Campbell has been reported for that high contact with Brent Harvey. The name goes in the book. Another look. Well, no question there was high contact. The ball was in the vicinity. That was obviously the target of Campbell. But with the tribunal this year, we won't prejudge. Harvey to centre half forward. Tivendale for High. Bangs it back from whence it came. Arm knocked away of Colbert there by Ottens. Bowden dumped. Simpson
Stiff for
giving
Simpson.
away the free kick.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. He came in hot. He was working hard for his club, but just the momentum would have been difficult for him to do any other technique than looked like he pushed him in the back.
If the Tigers concede the next goal, it could be game over. They have to get it. Big leap, Fiora unable to drag it down. Sainsbury runs it over for a boundary throw in. How did you see the Campbell report?
Well, it looked like he may have actually just caught the ball as well.
Yeah.
He's definitely going for the ball there. So one to have a good close look at.
Could be okay.
Yeah, it could be okay. It looked like he might have caught the ball. Ottens, but you're right. You don't want to prejudge. It's like picking the Melbourne Cup winner in July. They go forward, the Tigers. Gasper sent forward chasing Petrie. There they are, right on the boundary.
And you know they're going to have a busy night after the Hawthorn-Essendon game, so if you catch them at about midnight, they might be in a bad mood as we have a look at the leading ball winners.
And one of those players who's not on that list is Tivendale. He's come from the ground, been replaced by Fleming. McKernan lays it down in front. Colbert, Cracker, over the top. And that's not out yet. That's hugged up in tight. We'll have a ball up 30 metres around from the Tigers' goal. And the Kangaroos lead by 22 points with 5 goals in this third term.
Lee Colbert's fought back pretty well. I thought Ottens had a big impact in the second quarter, but Colbert 15 touches.
Make that 16. And it was a perfect one at that. Yeah, he's been good. And in fact, that defence inside or deep in that forward 50 of Richmond's been very good. Andrew Cracker, just a bit of a limp there. Shuffling with Troy Makepeace.
Well, by virtue of Gasper going forward to pick up Petrie, they've got a super open forward line now, the Kangaroos. If they break into space, particularly with this bloke, because he can wheel around and go very long, he's a thumping kick.
Rocker,
Big Sav's on his own.
He's on his own, exactly where he wanted to head. Well, he rolled the fingers across the seam. It beat everybody. Harding around the body again. It won't be this time. The pace was there, but he couldn't get as free just to be home.
He's a good player, Hardigan. He's going to be a long-term player for the Tigers. They've done well to pick him up.
Leading goal kicker for the Kangaroos last year with 33. It's been a 5-goal-2 to 1-goal-2 third quarter here from the Kangaroos. 23 points in front. Chaffee to Schultz. Well, that is up well and truly before acceptances. Remember, he took a specky last year and a good one earlier tonight. Brown's going to drive it to the hot spot. Rocker waiting back. McKernan from the side with a specky of his own for Big Corey. And now a very important kick in the shadows of three-quarter time.
Well, importantly for Corey, it was a great mark. His timing has been plaguing him on and off for the last 4 or 5 years, but that's a sort of Corey McKernan leap and grab that built his reputation in the first half of his career.
This kick will tell us a lot about the confidence of Corey McKernan. It will be just his second kick for the game. If he gets it, it will be 6 unanswered goals for the Kangaroos. Right through the middle. He's on the board, and they've turned an 8-point deficit earlier this quarter into a 29-point lead, and the Tigers' season is now hanging by a thread.
Well, that's just great to see Corey McKernan just remind himself, as much as anybody watching the game, how good a player he has been and can be. If you can do it once, you can continue to do it. He charged back to the centre, hungry for a bit more action.
6 in a row to the Roos. 13-7 to 8-8. 2.5 minutes. In 2.5 minutes, the Tigers have got to get something before three-quarter time. And doesn't look like they will at the minute. McKernan got it quickly, but Tivendale stood in the way. Bangs it forward. Campbell took the mark well. Spins around quickly. Brown on a lead. Chinking over the back. Ferrito. Ottens has got to go twice. Everybody's got to double back. Tigers there first. Brown got a call from Hyde. He ran into trouble. Gave it back towards Johnson. Just a little fumble. It's going to cost him. Ferrito wraps him up. Wants the free kick. He's not going to get it.
Well, Chris Hyde just missed the instant handball to David Roden, who was running to goal. It's amazing how quickly the game has fallen towards the Kangaroos. The Tigers up and running the first 4 or 5 minutes, and since then it's been all the Kangas.
They led by 8 points after the Richardson goal. And now the margin 29. McKernan will contest this boundary throw in right with Brad Ottens. At ground level. Johnson slapped it forward. Campbell off the ground. Heads towards the boundary. And Pettifer couldn't keep it in. We'll have another ball in.
Less than 90 seconds to play in the third quarter. Richardson with 2 goals. Cracker 2 for the Tigers. 3 to Rocker, 3 to Harding, and 2 to Motlop. The multiples for the Kangaroos. Defending here. They'd like that to be the scoreline at three-quarter time. Ottens to contest with McKernan. Ottens to Johnson. Simpson wraps him up. Another bounce.
He's worked hard in this term, Kane Johnson, although he hasn't been given. Not a lot has come on the scoreboard from his possessions. A lot have just broken down on the last possession towards the goal.
Ottens gets it down. Here's a chance now. Off balance. Newman hurried kick. Richardson there. Watt has given away a free. Richo's got one.
Well, the angle is going to be severe.
He could nearly walk up to the post, just short of it. Very, very tight angle. Umpire Ellis will put him on.
This will be interesting, won't it?
Oh, you just don't know what's going to come up here.
Jared, what's the best option?
Close your eyes and hope. wasn't Richo inside the goalpost?
It appeared to be, because the ball was punched into the post by Watt. And if he did that from where he's standing right now, it would be an impossibility.
I reckon he'll kick it. Put the nose in him.
It's hit the post, but there's going to be 50, and he'll take it to the goal square.
I reckon that's a fair call. You have a look how close David King is.
Well, the umpire went up and warned him. He marked the spot, don't come over it. And he's saying that you're not allowed to run out until he plays on.
And King, did he go early before Richo veered off? Well,
he's 2 steps away.
He was probably too close to start, but he did start after Richo had veered. Anyway, Matthews got the goal. It's game on again as Richo kicks his third. A fair degree of excitement about this contest here at the Telstra Dome. And the old world of sport, what's your decision, comes to the fore here. Now, did Richo deviate from his line before King ran? Yeah.
But that's irrelevant, because the umpire has got the command. Until he says play on, it's not play on, which is splitting hairs, but that was the explanation he was giving to David King, who rightly was having none of it.
And that's the way he plays his footy. 23-point margin. Still 37 seconds left. That is plenty of time for Daniel Wells. Handballing forward. Tigers have some numbers, but they've got to be clean, and they're not. Hardigan spilled it. Wells from 50. High ball. Simpson coming. Rocker's there. He's got it. Right before three-quarter time, and Daniel Wells has been everywhere in this third term. Forget calling him Air Jordan. Just call him Daniel Wells.
What about the bodywork of the big fella? Big Sav just propped in front of Ray Hall, who felt like he ran into a semi-trailer. Here he goes, Daniel Wells.
Spotted him, hooked it round the corner.
There it is.
There, yep. And Simpson no need, because Rocker stood resolute. 3 goals, 2. And all the hullabaloo at the other end with the Richardson goal will be snuffed out very quickly indeed if Rocker makes it 4. 23 points at three-quarter time is now 29. Sav's got 4, and they'll have a lot of joy as they head to the three-quarter time huddle. Plenty of body language, plenty of enthusiasm for the Kangaroos team. Daniel Wells, been everywhere in that third term, as I mentioned. Such a dangerous player. At three-quarter time, a brilliant quarter by the Kangaroos. They've kicked 7 goals, and they go into the last change. 14-7-91, 29-point leaders over Richmond, 9-8-62.
Michael Bublé not hot right now, Matty Campbell. Kangaroos by 29 points. They need a bit of Blink 182, something to fire them up here, the Tigers. Their season's on the line. They need victory tonight. Danny Frawley said it was a mini-final. The Roos, though, winning the clearance. Simpson to Grant, to Harris, towards Harding in the forward pocket. He's got it! Hardigan just had to do better there to get it away from him. And now Harding, right on the edge of his range. Eyes darting left to right, looking for an option now. Might have to go long. He's kicked 3 goals, 1. What a start this would be for the final term for the Kangaroos. Kicks from 49 across the face. Might not be a score. McKernan! Oh, that's poor checking from the Tigers. I think they conceded that it was going to be a score. And now McKernan from a very tight angle. Well, this second half perhaps be the turning point for Corey McKernan's season. Plays on, steps around his shoulder, across the face. It's a behind. The margin is 5 goals.
Nathan Brown up forward. Ottens and Richo, the double act in the goal square.
Short pass comes to Johnson. Breaking hard for him was Hyde, but Johnson decides that perhaps Stafford is a different option. Now a player gets free in the middle. Good vision. This is Kelvin Moore in his debut game.
Jeez, he slowed it right down too, but he's found an option.
Away out on the wing is Ray Hall, and he drives it inside 50. Brown in front. Ball bounces over Petrie's head. Shannon Watt arrives and then spots Lee Brown on the wing, waiting for the ball to bounce up, and does so now. And just goes for territory, really. No option up forward. Hardy going to want to keep this in. I'm not sure about Kelvin Moore. Eventually lays the shepherd. Stood still for a minute. Fiora is the option. Straight up the line. Tivendale can go long. Richardson on a burst. Right there, Ottens. Richardson's got it.
Tivendale's the bloke they need firing. They've pushed him to the half-forward line. That's not a bad spot for him to play because he's got Stevens covered for height. Maybe they just open up the square and make him as a mobile centre-half forward and allow the 2 talls to just hang in the goal square. Because now if he gets the footy, the delivery's generally spot on.
Well, 5 goals down. The Tigers have to make the most of every opportunity. Richardson has to bang this through. 45 metres out. Not a problem. It's there. 4 goals to Matthew Richardson. 4 goals, the margin for the Tigers. plenty of time.
Oh, plenty of time and plenty of goal power up forward, but they've got to get it in and get it in quickly. If you can get Richo one out, generally he's going to be able to get the mark, and then it's a matter of conversion. But Tivendale's the sort of bloke that allows that to happen because of his accuracy with his kicking.
5 marks tonight, 3 contested for Matthew Richardson. Tivendale with just the 7 kicks tonight, as Richardson punches the air in delight. Lighter in the wallet after last week's trip to Perth. The fine from the club around a couple of $1,000 for flipping the bird to the crowd, and then $4,000 at the tribunal for wrestling. 4 goals the difference then. Stafford takes them on, shovels it forward. Cracker upended by his teammate Johnson, opens the door for Makepeace for Anthony Stevens. Long towards Harding again. Wells there as well. A potent duo. Harding rides the bump, feeds it off to Wells on the left, centering ball, brilliant. And Rocker will line it up for goal number 5.
Well, it's just been great to see Wells back in some form. He's a brilliant player. He's got magnificent foot skills, and we all understand his athleticism, but he just hasn't been able to turn it on too much too often this season. And yet tonight, it's been exhilarating just watching him in the second half.
And it's always good watching this man in full flight. Started the season in the VFL, 18 goals in the first 5 VFL games, including 8 in round 1, 4th AFL game. Has kicked 10. This for his 11th and 5th tonight to put it back to a 5-goal game. Never in doubt. Sav Rocker delivering tonight.
Well, the centre clearances is a real concern for the Tigers. Another time this goal was set up because of the dominance of the Kangaroos in that centre bounce. And it was when Nathan Brown was in there in that first half of particularly the first quarter, that they got so much drive from there.
17-7 out of the centre.
Yeah, it's a belting.
Yep. So the key forwards at each end of the Telstra Dome, with the opening goals of the final term, and the margin is back to that 5 straight kicks. Stafford with McKernan. It favours McKernan. Once again, the Roos first at it, and it was Simpson charging onto it before being wrapped up. The Roos with just 1 win of the last 7 when they belted Port Adelaide by 92 points. One of the best performances of the season by any team. Harris started so well. Back to Harvey. He's got a little bit of time here. Lays it off on the left. Not a good kick. Turned it over. Fiora wants to spot up a player, and he does, standing on his own. Stafford thought about Gasper, eventually goes there. He's got a cut in front of the lead, juggles it, misses it. Pettifer, call out wide by Hyde. Hyde on the left. Oh, that's not a bad finish. That's a beauty. Chris Hyde, just his 3rd goal for the season. And a wonderful answering goal by the Tigers. And it was just a turnover from a bad kick from Harvey.
Yeah, Fiora comes from the ground and Chaffee goes back on. But good conversion here from the Tigers. A good rebound, and that's haven't seen much of it in the last 40 or so minutes of footy. Gasper lost it in the lights or thereabouts, but Pettifer lays it off.
And now the challenge to string together back-to-back goals. Good finish from the young man, 21 years of age, originally out of Baruga on the Murray. So the margin back to 4 goals. Tigers hanging around. Stafford and McKernan in the middle. McKernan clever. Grant's handball ends up with Simpson. Hurries it out wide. Michael Stevens to get there first. The bounce was kind. The kick is deep. The run from McKernan.
Well played. Stevens was a brilliant kick in his speed. He's got the speed of... well, he's probably quicker than his brother these days, but it was a magnificent centering kick, but only made so because Corey McKernan just marked this with absolute courage. Well played to McKernan. He's had a good quarter and a half.
Yep, fantastic, wasn't it? I mean, he was involved at the centre bounce and then just charged on forward.
Had 13 hit-outs tonight, Corey McKernan, to go with that 1-goal one and 4 marks. And this to restore their 5-goal buffer and keep the Tigers at arm's length, and he kicks it McKernan's got his second. And there's some pretty good spirit out there and in the stands from the Kangaroo supporters. But they're all making sure, Jared, there was about 8 of them that went to Corey McKernan.
Well, I think everyone in footy, particularly his teammates, would be keen for him to just find that magic that he had for so long in his career that's been absent for too long.
And you mentioned Michael Stevens' pace. Add that to Harding and Wells. That is a dynamically quick forward line.
Look at him. He's hitting them out of the middle, and that's what he wants to see. Even the 2 irons going straight now for Corey McKernan, who's a great golfer.
2 under for the back 9. And the Tigers, well, they keep coming. The Kangaroos have the answers at the moment. Goal for goal in this last term.
And on the left-hand side, you can see Corey McKernan there. He just dislocated that finger in that last ruck duel. Popped it straight back in.
Aaron Fiora's had his problems tonight. Right on top in the centre, but this time, though, Campbell off 1 step forward. Petrie did well. Colbert wrapped up. Ball up just inside the forward 50. David Roden, just the 6 disposals tonight. Stafford just standing and waiting. McKernan arrives, and so did Simpson. Colbert inventive. Petrie sums up the situation pretty quickly. Relieves the pressure with the kick to the boundary line and gets the applause from his teammates, in particular Anthony Stevens. Realised that he was under the pump.
Well, it's good to see Petrie just continuing to fight. He hasn't had the best of nights. Started well and then went into a flat spell and went pushed back to the back line, and he's just doing a role now and doing it in the ruck as well.
Tivendale with Stevens out the back. Harris,
clean. Good
take. Can go to the top to Wells if he wanted. He decides to go longer to Harding. Chaffee under some real pressure there. Took one for the team. Let's hope he's okay. And he's up and about. 13 minutes remaining. 30-point margin. Chaffee with the kick.
It's getting tough from here for the Tigers before 31,700 at the Telstra Dome as Chaffee drives to the wing. McKernan full of confidence now, knocking it down. This is Schultz just on the ground for Stafford. Brown, perhaps time to get into the midfield, get in the mix to Johnson, to Bowden. Was he off? No. He'll wait. Whoops. Centers it. Turnover. Harvey. Can't afford mistakes now. 5 goals down. Time running out. Harvey brilliant. Wells. A fraction too far. Goes short. Sainsbury running forward takes the mark. Now no one will be on the mark here. Eventually Roden's coming in the vicinity. But Eddie Sainsbury could drive the dagger through here. He's kicked just 1 goal in his AFL career, a brief one. This is 9th game. 5 goals the margin. Sainsbury taking the deep breath. The cousin of Daniel Wells and Michael O'Loughlin pushes it out to the right. And off hands through for a behind. The margin 31 points. We have played 12 minutes of this final term, less than 12 to go, and there's not much Danny Frawley can do right now.
And you can just see Eddie saying to himself, he didn't drop the ball well. He lost control of it.
And that's exactly what the Tigers don't need to do. They almost did, and they have. Lost control. Stevens regains it for the Kangaroos. Heads to the goal square. Going back. Great mark. Shannon Grant. Hasn't had a big night. That'll make him feel a lot better. Courageous mark with the traffic approaching, and he is dead in front.
David Roden coming from the field, and
just a little bit too much on that handball from Brown. And the turnover, we've seen a couple of turnovers already in this last term by the Tigers. Shannon Grant with just the 8 disposals, lining up for his first goal of the night. This to get it out to 37 points. Not a problem for Grant. The Roos definitely now stranglehold on this game. It would take something extraordinary from the Tigers.
Yeah, it's a bit like Greg Miller. A lot of them haven't fronted up after half-time.
Fair call.
And David Roden's an interesting one. He's in his third year, so he's still just a baby in football terms, but he's been almost treading water for the last year and a half, and it's disappointing because he's an exhilarating player when he's up and about.
Greg Miller did come up to apologise for missing our rendezvous at half-time. He was held up during the course of the break. A lot of matters to attend to at Punt Road. Could be more after this. They're playing Fremantle next Sunday at the MCG. They've got to make up 6 goals here in a hurry. At the Telstra Dome, though, it is a venue where you can get some momentum and kick goals quickly, but it will take an almighty effort here. Anita Frawley watching on, fingernail biting stuff. And a warm welcome to all the team from Living with Footballers here on Fox Footy. Tuning into the coverage tonight. Scramble in the middle. You can catch the girls 9:30 every Thursday night. 17-9 to 11 goals 8 as we approach the halfway mark. Wayne Campbell reported in the third quarter. Who will spark the Tigers here? Disposals for the term. Kangaroos winning the edge there. Ottens down to Campbell to half forward. Bounce important. Fleming goes without it. Ferrito, good effort. And thumps it long. Brown the target. His strong hands. Like seeing him at centre half forward. Too far out to score. Gives it everything. To the hot spot at the top of the square. McKernan again. Couldn't drag it down. Chappie will concede it behind perhaps. No. Elects to keep it in. Tigers have down 1 on 2 here. Man in front. Stevens knocked it to Brown. Still a chance. The skipper Simpson to McKernan. Not the second effort. Chappie. And now they can rebound with Kane Johnson on half back.
He's got plenty of space. Just needs to be clean with the footy. He is. Pettifer slides into the chest mark. Pretty open forward line, but Lee Colbert is on his own, waiting for the next attack. Schultz has spilled it. Boundary throw in, and Jared Colbert at one end, Brown at the other. In the key posts have been very good for the Kangaroos.
They have. Lee Brown's been good all night, even when he was floating across that half-back line and going into the ruck. Such a mobile, quick player now. He's really built himself a fine start to a career since leaving the Dockers.
Campbell needs some help. Recovers his own handball. He's gone. He's pinged. It's holding the ball. Advantage paid. Shannon Grant on the burst. Rooker! Been a good night for Sav. Go back. Loaded up. Kick right through it. It'll go through post height. He's kicked 5 goals 2.
Has he missed a set shot tonight? I don't think so. A couple around the corners.
This for his 6th to seal the game, and they can really celebrate here. Just inside 50, it's a helicopter.
Yeah, but the mongrels are going for it.
It's all clear. Shocking kick, net result 6 goals to Big Sav. Kangaroos are up by 7.
And it all started across that wing where Wayne Campbell was busting a boiler, but he ran out of options. There was no one to give it to, and the tackle from Stevens superb. And in the end, the umpire paid the free kick, but then the advantage was played. There he is again. Great tackle from Anthony Stevens, the workhorse. And Lachlan Archer has flagged his intentions that he'd like to go on again next season, which I reckon would please everyone at the Kangaroos.
Yep.
Just one of 4 players playing in the AFL that played in the 80s. Anthony Stevens, been around a long time.
Trivia question will be our White Line Fever viewer poll Monday night. Who are the other 3? But Matthew will tell us in 30 seconds. Have a think at home. 43 points the lead. Wells darting out of the middle. Ferrito going wide. Shannon Grant. Sold a dummy nicely round. Johnson goes to the goal square for Brown. Oh, they're marching on here. Their percentage will soar above 100. And they are finishing off the Tigers with a big second half. Currently 11 goals to 4, about to be 12 goals to 4 after half-time.
I've seen the Kangaroos twice in the last month. Once was against Port Adelaide and again tonight. And it's just hard to believe that they had a, what was a 7-game losing?
1 out of 7.
One out of
That was the only win
seven.
they've had.
Yep. Here is Lee Brown to slam through another one. He becomes their 10th goal kicker. The lead is 49 points as we approach time on. Have you written down your answers at home as we have a look at the Brown mark again? Here's Matthew Campbell, the quizmaster.
The answer to tonight's Toyota trivia question is Alastair Lynch, Robert Harvey and Wayne Carey.
If you got all 3 correct, give us a call Monday night when Tony Shaw will join me with Nathan Buckley to take your call, 7:30 Eastern on White Line Fever.
What do you win a Toyota?
Yep. First honest caller through. No. Yeah, it's got the bean counters frazzled right now.
Sav's been a good inclusion, hasn't he?
It's been fantastic. I mean, 6 goals too. He's been showing some form over the last couple of weeks. Tonight, he's had the result on the scoreboard. Wells bashing it forward. They're running with confidence now, the Roos. Simpson to the pace of Harvey. Back inside for Sav. I'll go back and make it 7. Don't pass it.
He'll be unselfish, won't he? He wants to pass it off. He's had a good night. He should kick it.
It's a full forward.
He can load up and bang it through. Both he and his brother, prodigious kicks. As Lee Colbert comes to the ground for a well-earned rest.
Quick straw poll. Will he or won't he?
Are he going to get it?
Yes.
He's on fire tonight.
Make that 3.
For 7, Sav. Oh, yes. Come on, your real team. We go back to a game last year here, Clinton. I think it was at this ground where Dean Laidley put the acid on Sav Rocker at 3/4 time.
He did.
Said, you're playing for your future. We look now at round 11, and he's got 7 goals in a match-winning performance in a game now that is becoming a real blowout for the Tigers.
It has become ugly for the Tigers. Their percentage coming into this match, a league worst 73.8 for the Tigers, so that effectively puts them an extra game behind everyone else. For Sav Rocker and the Kangaroos, it's all smiles. Their percentage above 100 now.
Yeah, Richmond, 11 goals 9 is their average for a game. They're on 11-8.
11-8.
Can't help but think what sort of career the big fellow would have had if he had have gone to the NFL. He's as big a kick as Darren Bennett.
He's kicked 649 career goals, 19th all-time, and they're not done with yet. Wells in the vicinity of the big fella. Here's Motlop darting and weaving. Rawlings, quick hands, wonderful, deserves a goal. Watson, oh, they're killing him now. Ashley Watson, welcome to the party. A 7-goal-to-2 final quarter, and the lead is beyond 10 goals.
Pretty nifty little mover, Ashley Watson. Just worked his way straight up the middle. Motlop continues to impress. Harris, as always, with the first possession, gets it onto the running receiver, and he drills one home. And that's how he can build a career, doing exactly that 100 times over.
That's his first career goal for the 20-year-old, originally out of the Bendigo side in the TAC Cup. First career goal for number 1. He'll enjoy that. The Kangaroos are marching on.
This is their best final quarter for the season, and there's still plenty of time for more goals. Roden, though, for the Tigers. Spirals it forward. 3-on-1. The spoil came from Ferrito. Down to Makepeace. They share it again. Harris has got some space. He's indecisive, but he's got some support. Now he uses Motlop. Harding leads deep into the pocket. Sav wants it long. Motlop, well, he refused to give it to either. And you have a good think about it. In fact, he's coming straight off.
He's got a lot of tricks, Daniel Motlop, but at times he just goes too far outside the square. Just got to keep it in, pretty conservative sort of play, and the other stuff will all come to the fore. But there was a shot there. He just could have pinged it off to Sav, and the team would have benefited.
Hall's grabbed by Harris, and it goes to Newman. Johnson spreads it to Bowden. Through the middle, Ottens. Got to be quick here. He is. Cracker. Can slip. No, it goes long to the pocket. Richardson pushing. The kick is dragged left, and it goes out of bounds.
Well, there hasn't been much work for Richo to do this quarter.
No. He got one early to kick his fourth. But since then, it's the full forward at the other end.
Not a lot of supply deep in that forward line.
Coming up on the final 5 minutes, Kangaroos have kicked the last 6 goals of the match to turn what was a tight one at half-time into a blowout. Harris caught by Johnson. Ottens. Pettifer drives it long. Richardson in the goal square. Bounced off his chest. Kangaroos conceded behind, but there's a push and a free kick going the Tigers' way in the goal square. Richardson will be the recipient. And well, it was off balance and Petrie ran into it.
Contact.
Bit of mascara, a makeup call. Richardson kicks his 5th. So I guess you can say he's done his job tonight. 55 points the margin with 4.5 minutes remaining in the match. Don't forget, from 4 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, special start time on Fox Footy Sunday. Live and exclusive coverage of Fremantle and Melbourne, 4 o'clock on the East Coast.
Well, coming here, I thought if Richo had kicked 5 goals and what's he taken, only 5 marks, if he had kicked 5 goals, I would have thought the Tigers would win. And yet it's been a comprehensive victory to the Kangaroos.
Margin at 55. 31,700 at the Dome tonight. The Kangaroos will go to 5 and 6 and keep their season alive and hang on to the main bunch, attempting to play finals football. Bowden, long, Richardson coming, going back with courage. Schultz almost grabbed it. Petrie, Ferrito, going to back himself and get caught. Back towards Sansbury. Hilton. And we've got a push. Kangaroos ball.
There's a snide handball from Ferrito. He knew that he'd run out of options forward. The only place he could give the ball where he knew his teammates were behind him.
McKernan, strong mark. Rocker, well, it's a poor kick. Rocker had some space to run into. Was cut off by Ottens. Harris or Harding, could have been either. And Harris kicks it out in front, enabling Shannon Grant to run onto it. It was a clever kick. He dictated where he wanted Grant to run to.
And it suited Grant because there was no pressure from behind. He was always going to just run into it. Smart player, this bloke, by hand or by foot.
He's had a good night, hasn't he?
He's a good player.
23 disposals for Harris, leading the Kangaroos. There's Anita Frawley decides enough's enough for this stage of the evening. Grant kicked a goal early in the term. Good momentum with the run-up, but he didn't finish it. Just the behind.
Working our way towards full time. 3 minutes and change to go. 56 points the Kangaroos lead. Campbell, having been reported in the 3rd quarter to bring it back into play. Goes wide for Kane Johnson. Invited to play on. He'll switch it back for Newman. Tigers hosting Fremantle at the MCG next Sunday. The Kangaroos also on Sunday on the Queen's birthday long weekend down at Geelong. Up on the wing, Michael Stevens. Stops. Goes backwards for Makepeace. Over the top, Petrie running down time here. Ferrito signals his intention to go long. Targets Rocker in a den of Tigers. Half a go too. Shannon Grant peels out of it. Lays it off. This man likes a goal. He likes a goal. And he's got one. David King becomes the Kangaroos' 12th goal kicker tonight. They've got 22. And the margin is 62 points.
And set up again by the half-back line, who's been pretty solid this evening. Except for a spell in that second term when they were right under pressure. They've been really good. And Makepeace continues his good form. Ferrito's done pretty well also since coming onto the ground.
15 goals second half so far for the Roos. 5 for the Tigers. Grant monstered by Johnson. Secondary ball up with just over 2 minutes remaining. Kangaroo fans in full voice already starting celebrating. There they are. Wells came over the top. Stevens couldn't take it. Harris did. Pushed it out towards Harvey. Newman. Somehow Watson slipped it to Harvey. Can go short. Man all on his own. Grant. Rocker sprints. Grant might go all the way here. Decides to square it all the way across. And finding David King, who just kicked the goal from a similar spot.
When the Tigers lose this season, they lose big. 59 points to Melbourne, 45 St Kilda, 49 Geelong, 75 Adelaide, 78 Port and 37 West Coast.
Well, they're mucking around with it a bit, and we'll have take 2. He's just a little bit further back from goal, David King. Signals that he's going for the long shot. He's pulled out the driver. He's hit it pretty well off the beat. That's a fantastic finish. The long drive competition has been won by David King.
And he put that in the mayor's office.
He did put that in the mayor's office. He likes to celebrate a goal. He loves to kick them. And what a finish by the Kangaroos.
It's a great kick.
9-goal quarter.
Runs out to the right, squares the hips to the target, unloads. And, well, as you said, he's going to win the umbrella for the long drive.
Their third best ever final quarter against Richmond in 79 years of meetings. Currently at 9 goals 3. 68 points the margin. This could yet end up being the Tigers' worst loss of the year. They led by 8 points early in the third quarter. Shannon Grant is away. Drives it long. Rockers one out. This is a procession.
Well, the Tigers, of course, have been on the road the last couple of weeks, and much will be made of that. But there hasn't been a hell of a lot of fight in the Tiger in the last half. No.
And again, when they lose big.
Centre clearance once again.
Rocker lining up for goal number 8. And this for their all-time best ever final quarter against Richmond. Going back through 79 years of meetings to cross 150, to make the margin 74 points. Big Sav loving it tonight. He's got 8. 4 in this final quarter. The margin is 74 points with just 8 seconds to go. This has become an embarrassing capitulation by Richmond.
What about Sav's career? It was over 10 weeks ago. He was never to be cited again. The decision was made to bring him back into the side after having some good form in the VFL. And he hasn't looked back. He's topped it off this comeback spell with an 8-goal haul, which is incredible.
Now 14 goals in his 4 starts this year. That was career goal 650.
Congratulations to Rocker. Congratulations to the Roos. They're not done with yet, Clinton.
I think they are.
Okay. Daniel Wells takes the ball, gives it back to the umpire, and what a second half by the Kangaroos. 7 goals to half-time, 24 at the end of the day. And you just didn't see it coming. They played magnificent football, but if you'd said at half-time they were going to win by 74 points, Jared, if you're a betting man, you would have said, I'll take your money.
Yeah, you would have if you had said that at half-time, because the Tigers were full of running. Kangaroos were hanging in there, but once they went to the well the second time, there was no energy there. Whether that is because the confidence levels are down or they just haven't got the players to combat. The Kangaroos have got a hell of a lot of rotations through the middle. I guess we'll leave that to the coaches to work out. But one thing we all know is that Swatter's with one of the men of the evening.
Thanks, Jared. Look, important game tonight, Sav. Got off to a great start. The boys finished off really well. But I think importantly, you mightn't be too comfortable talking about it. 8 goals yourself. Good to come back into some form.
As you said, no, we needed to win, and the boys played well. They got it down, you know, with accuracy, and it come down pretty quickly. So it's the most important thing.
Makes a difference when you're getting good delivery and there's a fair bit of space in the forward line for you to operate and go about your trade.
Absolutely. The quicker the ball can get in for a forward, the better, I suppose.
And for all those out there, mate, it's been a long road back. You're enjoying your football?
It's great fun at the moment, and I'm loving it. Hopefully I can keep playing for a little while.
Thanks, Sav. Enjoy the win. Well done.
Thank you.
Sam Rocca with 8 goals, 2 this evening. The Tigers making their way off. Good to see some of their supporters supporting them down there. A pat on the back for Richo. He did his bit with 5 goals, but for Danny Frew, the bottom line is now they've reached the halfway mark of the season with 4 wins and 7 losses and a league worst percentage. So for them to make the finals from here, it will take, well, it'll take certainly 8 wins and 3 losses. They'll have to get 12 with their percentage. So the task in front of the Tigers. The Kangaroos, though, good signs. 5 wins and 6 losses. Their percentage impressive now. And they did it with no huge ball winners. Harris 25 touches leading the way. Harvey and Makepeace each with 23. Simpson 20.
They did it with a really even supply through the middle of the ground. A pretty solid defence and magnificent work through the middle of the ground, getting the ball from the centre, setting up Big Sav.
We'll take a break. Come back with the Kangaroos celebrations. And they will be plentiful. 74 points their win tonight on Fox Footy.